Okay, picture this, a tea tree, 100 years old, standing on a beautiful hillside in Vietnam. Now, what if I told you that tree isn't just, well, a tree? What if it's a digital asset you can trade from anywhere on the planet? Sounds like something out of a movie, right? But it's not. It's a revolution happening right now in Vietnam's agri-tech space. And today, we're going to dive deep into this incredible story.
So, the big question is, how on earth is this possible? How can a living, breathing, 100-year-old tree become a global liquid asset? That's the core question we're tackling today. And the answer, you'll see, kicks off with a massive, and I mean massive, shift in the financial world.
And when I say massive, I'm not kidding. Just look at this number, $16 trillion. That's trillion with a T. That's the size the market for real-world assets, or RWAs, is projected to hit by 2030, according to the Boston Consulting Group. So yeah, we're not talking about some small niche trend here. This is a fundamental change in how capital markets work.
All right, so how do we connect the dots between a single tea tree and a $16 trillion market? Here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll look at the big picture, the revolution itself. Then we'll get into the tech that makes it all work. We'll use the tea tree as a real-life blueprint, see how this idea can scale up, check out the all-important legal stuff, and finally, talk about what this all means for you, the investor.
Okay, let's jump in. First up, the big revolution. And you know, this is about so much more than just fancy tech. It's really about taking Vietnam's incredible heritage and connecting it to the world of modern finance. The whole idea is to build this sustainable, super transparent farm-to-table ecosystem. By using blockchain, we can basically cut out all the middlemen and link farmers, investors, and even you, the consumer, directly in a trusted, secure value chain.
Next, let's pull back the curtain on the technology that's making this whole transformation happen. We're going to get into a really important concept here, real-world asset tokenization. You might hear it called RWA.
So, what exactly is RWA tokenization? In simple terms, think of it like creating a digital title or a certificate of ownership for something in the real world. This little digital token lives on a blockchain, and it proves you own a piece of a tangible thing, whether that's a building, a piece of art, or, you guessed it, one of these ancient tea trees.
And the difference this makes is, well, it's night and day. Think about traditional assets. They're often hard to sell quickly, right? They've got high barriers to entry, and the processes can be slow and super confusing. Tokenized RWAs completely flip that on its head. Suddenly, you've got global trading 24/7. You have fractional ownership, which means anyone can invest in high-value assets, and everything runs on systems that are transparent and automated. It's a total game changer for investors.
Okay, that's the theory. But how does this actually work in the real world? Let's zoom in on a fantastic case study, the ShanTuyet tea project. This is where we see the technology come to life in a living, breathing ecosystem. And trust me, it's about a lot more than just a tree.
For every single one of these ancient tea trees, imagine it gets its own digital passport. It's a unique NFT, and it holds the tree's entire life story. We're talking its age, its exact GPS location, any organic certifications, its full harvest history, everything. And because all of this is locked onto the blockchain, it can't be changed. It's an ironclad guarantee of authenticity.
Now, this digital passport is the key that unlocks 3 really cool business models. First, e-commerce. You can buy premium tea and use the NFT to trace it right back to the exact tree it came from. Talk about provenance. Second, automated auctions. For the rarest, most valuable trees, smart contracts can run a totally transparent auction. And third, and this is pretty futuristic, VR tourism. If you own an NFT, you could actually put on a headset and take a virtual tour of your tree from anywhere in the world.
But look, this tea tree model, it's really just the starting point. It's the blueprint for something so much bigger. You can take these exact same principles and apply them to, well, almost anything in agriculture. From tea hills to urban farm stays, from durian orchards and coffee plantations to high-value medicinal herb farms. The potential here is absolutely enormous.
Let's take a farmstay project as another example, just to see how this scales. You can break down every single part of it and tokenize it. The rights to use the land? That could offer revenue sharing. The bungalows themselves? They generate rental income. The coffee or durian trees on the property? You get a piece of the harvest yields. Even carbon credits from the project could be tokenized for investors focused on ESG returns. Each part becomes its own distinct investment opportunity, offering really clear and specific benefits.
Okay, I know what some of you are thinking. This all sounds great, but what about the legal stuff? And you're right. Any new innovation, especially one trying to attract foreign investment, needs a rock-solid legal framework. And that is exactly what's being built in Vietnam right now, a secure foundation for this whole new asset class.
The Vietnamese government is actually laying out a very clear roadmap to support this. It really starts this year, in 2024, with a new land law that makes agricultural land use more flexible. Then, in 2025, Resolution 05 kicks in, which creates a 5-year regulatory sandbox, a safe space for controlled testing. And looking ahead, the big milestone will be a new digital technology law, which will finally give digital assets an official legal definition.
And this sandbox is really smart. It's designed to be both careful but also very ambitious. The rules are strategic. For instance, the company issuing the tokens has to be a Vietnamese entity. The tokens have to be 100% backed by real assets, no funny business. And interestingly, the initial offering is just for foreign investors, specifically to bring in international capital. Domestic investors can then join in after the first 6 months.
So, with that legal foundation starting to take shape, let's talk risk. Because, let's be honest, anytime you're investing in something this groundbreaking, you need to have a clear-eyed view of the challenges. And this project is all about balancing that incredible innovation with robust security. When we look at risk, we can really break it down into 3 main buckets. The biggest piece of the pie, about 40%, is asset and legal risk. This is all about making sure that the T-tree, the physical asset, actually exists, that it's verified, and that its ownership is legally sound, no questions asked. The next slice is financial and liquidity risk. This covers things like market volatility and making sure you can actually trade these tokens easily. And finally, you have technology and operational risk. This is about the security of the code, the smart contracts, and just making sure the platform itself is stable and secure.
You know, there's this great quote from a senior advisor at the Vietnam Blockchain Association that I think just nails the whole approach. They said, Vietnam's greatest opportunity is not to race for speed, but to get it right from the start. And that philosophy, that focus on careful, sustainable development instead of reckless growth, is exactly what long-term strategic investors want to hear. So, as we wrap up, all of this leads to a final, pretty deep question. In a world where every single physical asset, from a tree to a building, has a digital twin, what does ownership even mean anymore? It's a question that's going to reshape how we think about assets and value in the very near future. Thanks for joining us to explore what's next in the world of digital assets.